Hey now, and welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, one and all, to a special Fun N Games edition of the Quinn Spinn. We are drinking with the founders of Music City Movement here for a special mashup remix edition of All of the Things at Once. Presented by Underground Music Collective and Music City Movement, live from the 615 is probably in there somewhere too. I don't know. This is on your podcast feed as well as on all of the places you watch Fun N Games. Anyway, I don't know if I should be the Quinn or if I should be Gerard on this episode, so I'm just both since we're doing all the things today. And I'm your host. You heard Revel 9's All I've Become at the top of the show. If you're listening to this as a podcast, that's been our opening theme song here at the Quinn Spinn since 2014. Will be until the end of time. And I am joined here today, like I said, by the founders of Music City Movement. We have Michelle Stone and Jenna Rose, who also host Fun N Games for Underground Music Collective. So first of all, thank you for joining us here today.
Thanks for having us. We have been here for a while anyway, so thought we'd pop in.
Might as well. So I ask every guest to my show 3 standard questions, and I'll give you both a chance
We've been briefed.
as first-time guests on the show to answer these however you'd like, whoever wants to go first. Those 3 questions are, who are you? What are your passions, and why on earth would you want to come on the Quinn Spinn Fun N Games Drinking with Founders edition from Underground Music Collective and Music City Movement?
Well, I guess I'll go first because we're in the direction. Yeah, like you said, I'm Michelle Stone. My passions include anything creative. I do all sorts of artsy stuff. I write, I produce, I sing, I paint, I dance. There's really nothing that I don't do that's creative. I don't juggle. Yet. And what was the third question?
Why on earth would you want to come on this show?
Why would I come on this show? Well, coming on to the Underground Music Collective, I met Gerard about, January, let's say?
You called me over Christmas while I was up north.
I found it because me and Jenna became friends in the most weird way that we might share the story with someone one day. We don't care to share it now. But we became friends, and I found out that Jenna was writing for the Underground Music Collective. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I would love to write music reviews. Contacted Gerard. He was just the coolest guy on the phone. And then but
once you met me in person, your
then I was
destroyed.
Wow, dude, I don't know about this.
What did I get into?
No, but then I had an idea to do a podcast that was very different from the Fun N Games podcast. It was actually a podcast about comic books, and I told Jenna this, it was a completely thing about video games. But working with the Underground Music Collective, I was like, why don't we do the Fun N Games podcast, and pitch the idea to them, and then it came to fruition, and we've all been making it happen. And now I'm here, and I was like, hey, Gerard also has a podcast that he's been doing with Underground Music Collective, which he founded for 8 years?
8 years ago, as of recording today,
and we've been
the first episode.
Yeah, and we've been breaking the matrix. So we were like, let's break it some more.
You know, it's funny because we've broken the matrix on 2 very important days in Quinn Spinn history. When I was on Fun N Games, we broke it on the day that I conceived the show. And now you're on the Quinn Spinn on the anniversary of the day that the first episode came out. Of course, this is airing 2 weeks after.
That's crazy.
Isn't it?
Okay, the Matrix really is broken.
Yeah,
but yeah.
No, and that's it's like that was a universe happening on purpose because we didn't plan this.
No, we had an artist that was not very professional in the way they were doing things and couldn't do our 3rd segment, so we were like,
Quinn Spinn exclusive dirt.
Yeah, we were like, why don't we just do it this way? But yeah. You can call me Elle, Michelle, you can call me Mitchie, you can call me that girl that wears really crazy outfits.
It looks like Britney Spears from 1999
apparently,
right now.
Just call me whatever you want, but that's going to cost you $500 an hour.
Got to make the money somehow.
Good thing I'm rich and I can afford you.
No, Jenna gets it for free. Come on.
Anyway, Jen, you'll probably want to turn that mic a little toward you, by the way. Yeah, it's one directional. One direction. Yeah.
So I'm Jenna Rose. Passions are very similar to Michelle's. Anything creative, really. But really, actually, supporting other creatives is where I kind of thrive. I am a creative myself, but I gain energy from seeing other people succeed. And getting to be a part of it, the selfish part of that is I get to be part of the process and helping them succeed. And I, being on this show, I would say I've kind of been involved for long enough at this point that it's exciting to also be part of this side of things.
Yeah.
I haven't been,
Yeah.
involved with the podcast as much,
Mhm.
but I've been, Gerard and I have been working together since
2019. Since pretty much I moved to
before that,
Nashville.
2018.
Yeah? Like right when I moved here?
Yeah, it was pretty close after.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Austin had met you like the month that you moved here.
Yeah, at what's that? Balanced Breakfast.
Yeah,
right
at Balanced
in the other
Breakfast.
room. Yeah.
And then I was like involved right away. We like the same I think month even.
Yeah.
We submitted the first
Yeah.
songs for review. So that's
Yeah.
how Gerard and I kind of
Yeah, that's right. You submitted in December for the one that came out in January, which was Shake.
yeah,
Right.
Yep.
And then he was doing the song a month thing for a
Mhm.
while. Yep.
Yeah. So we like developed
Yeah.
a relationship pretty quickly.
And then he was on the show that June.
Yeah.
He was our June guest when it was just monthly back in the early Nashville days, which what a time in my life that was. Oh.
I think it was no question too to like have Jenna on as like on the podcast, because when I remember like coming and sitting down with you guys, I remember the day I was like, all right, I'm gonna pitch this to them and see what they think. And me and Jenna just had such good banter, and we talked, and this was before we actually founded Music Scene Movement. We were doing Rock Scene together, which feels like forever ago, but it was only like not even a year ago.
Yeah.
And
It was a few months ago.
yeah, and it hasn't even really been that long. It feels like forever, but we had such good banter, and I knew immediately when she was sitting there, I was like, we're gonna do this together. Like, there's no question that this is gonna be something we have to do together, because the way we work together in terms of like talking is just, it just flows so well, because our personalities are different, but they're also similar. And so like
we're on that perfect like combination of levels.
yeah,
Basically, if the music industry had a tag team division, they would be the champions. Is essentially what we're getting at here.
you get lucky to find. I feel very lucky, because I feel like not everyone gets it. We talk to a lot of people. We actually talked to a girl of ours that we know that, I won't mention names or businesses, but she was talking about a business partner she had that started with her that was like stealing money and like wasn't working. And me and Jenna were like, man, like we're really blessed to actually have found each other, because like we obviously are just like friends and sisters who we have quarrels, we have disagreements, we don't agree on everything, but at the end of the day, like we love each other and we're both passionate about the same things, and that trumps everything.
Yeah, yeah. I feel the same way about Kaysen, who's of course
That's
the
a good
co-founder.
trio. That's a good.
Yeah, we be the tag team champions in the men's division.
There you go.
Like
all of us. Like,
we just work really well together. We're very similarly minded. We have different skill sets that complement each other very well. He's way more technically proficient than I am. I am more of the public face of what we're doing. I'll be the one to actually get up on stage, and like, do the content end of things too. But we complement each other very well. But when we come together with the ideas, like it's just a great partnership, So it's the same thing y'all have going
very
on.
symbiotic.
Yeah.
Very symbiotic.
But individually, I'm curious how you both, and I'm sure the listeners are as well. I already know some of this, but like how you both kind of found your entry point into the industry.
Yeah, okay, well, I guess I'll start on that. Well, I'm born and raised in Nashville.
Mhm.
I've always somehow, in some way, been tied into music. I've been doing music since I was younger. I was actually, this is a fun fact that a lot of people don't know, I was in a band when I was 17 called Skies Above Testimony.
I did not know that.
It was a screamo band. I was a screamo.
Yeah?
Screamo. Yeah, I can't really do it as much anymore. It's hard on the throat. But I was involved in that. And then in my early 20s, I got into EDM. Jenna knows this. I got really hard in the EDM scene. I was helping with Johnny Grande, doing a lot of stuff in that. I was promoting, running shows, dancing on stage. It was a wild time in my life. And then for a little bit there, I kind of took a break, and I was like trying to find myself and discover who I was and what I wanted to do. And then I decided I wanted to be a writer. And then that's when I moved from Murfreesboro, because I had moved from Nashville to Murfreesboro. I moved back to Nashville, which was like basically I'd say about 4 years ago. And then I just started bartending on Broadway. And then I started getting into the scene of all that and just slowly working myself in. I would say probably after COVID, when everyone really started coming out, because before COVID, people came out, but after COVID, it felt like everyone that was really doing everything, they started actually coming out more. And that's when I just started going to different bars after work and getting plugged in and meeting people. And then before I know it, I meet Jenna and we start becoming friends. We start going out, and then me and her, I think I remember the day actually we were at Bowie's, and it was when the rock scene was there. And me and her are very good in the way we work. Like, she'll kind of step back and chill, and I'm not afraid to go up and be like, hey, what's up with you? And I went up and talked to someone that was in the rock scene. I think it was Marshall. And introduced myself to him and Hunter Cross. And
Hunter Cross, Fun N Games alum.
Yeah, and that's when we went into it. And then, you know, he came and talked. He was like, you two are really hot. Like, they thought like we were the hottest girls in Bowie's at the time. Whatever, you know, speculation. Whoever's there, no, like, shade saying you're not hot. But he was like, you guys are so hot and you're here. What are you doing? And Jenna had a background in music. You know, I'd had a background. He was like, you guys want to start like doing stuff? And
yeah, we kind of integrated in.
We just integrated in, and then it just started from there. Honestly, is kind of how I would say it happened. Yeah.
My start in the music industry. So I mean, it depends on how long we want to talk about this and how far
as you want to go.
But so okay, well, when I was 12, I discovered Hanson. Actually, a friend of mine discovered Hanson and introduced me, and that was my introduction into music being a fundamental part of my soul, of of creating who I was. And because at the time I was 12 years old, the youngest member of Hanson was 12 years old, and so that's not a common
So
thing.
you're gonna get married one
right.
day.
Well, yes, of course. I was in love. And also they were my age, which wasn't, you know, there weren't many 12-year-olds that were succeeding.
Successful left-handed singing drummers, no less. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people know left-handed singing drummer. That is very rare.
Southpaw? Wow.
Yeah.
Has brownie points.
I only know 2 left-handed singing drummers, and it's him and my friend Adam from the Mad Sugars. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Adam, left-handed?
And he's a singing drummer.
So,
Under oath.
So that was my start into music as a passion.
Mm-hmm.
I had loved oldies before that, but just kind of really developing who I was as a person.
Mm-hmm.
That was where that started. And they were very, very good influences. They were
wholesome.
They were wholesome.
Boys.
So it was like I didn't get into trouble when I was little. I got into music, and so from there on out, they became the largest independent band in the world.
They were independent that whole time?
Not the whole time.
Oh, okay.
No, in like 99, when the whole industry started to crash, they started dealing with a lot of tumultuous shit. Mm-hmm. And with their label, and they got put onto Island Def Jam, and they went through all the struggle. And I was, of course, on top of everything that was happening. So I knew everything that was going on in the music industry at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And they battled, and they got out of their record deal. They started their own label. They became kind of pioneers in the independent music world, which at the time, now it seems like an exaggeration to say that, but at the time, they were actually some of the very first. And
it was a huge deal.
It was a huge deal. Yeah. And I was reading every single article. They were entrepreneurs, they were on the forefront of everything.
Yeah.
And I was on top of all of that shit.
Yeah.
So I was really learning a lot as they were going through all of that stuff.
Which not many people realize that about Hanson. How good they are at what they do, but also how smart they have been the entire time.
And how much they've battled against and come on top of all of those battles. Yeah. And they've been they've had they've been the first to do a lot of things. They've really paved the way in a lot of ways for a lot of independent artists. And because I was passionate about their music, I by default knew everything that was going on in the whole industry. And that's where I got a lot of my knowledge from, and built on my passion for it. And then I was trying to just get involved wherever I could with friends that were doing it. I tried to get into at the time when I was getting into college, there wasn't a lot of access into the music industry unless you were going to a music college, and I wasn't. So I was trying to figure out a way to get into to create an education that would cater to the music industry. And by trying to figure that out, I got into the events industry because we figured that events, concerts, festivals
all fall under the same comment. Yeah.
So so I went to school for events, and so while I'm in school doing whatever, learning the things, Still obviously following Hanson. Our mutual friend, Austin, the Slow Drag, a local
Shout
artist
out.
here.
Mm-hmm.
His band at the time was opening for Hanson. And so that was in 2007 is when I saw them for the first time and completely fell in love with their band called Everybody Else at the time. And then I went on tour with Hanson they had a special where you could follow them along for a week on a tour bus with them. And a big group of us did that, and I was one of them. And so I got to follow along with everybody else also. And his band eventually kind of went their separate ways, but I followed Austin's solo career and continued just building a relationship with him, and ended up working really closely with him, helping him with a lot of his independent music stuff. And he really took me under his wing and gave me a lot of experience in the industry. He just he saw that I knew what I was talking about to the degree that I knew it at the time, and trusted me to
learn the rest.
He said, here, this is what I want to do. You take it. Do what you want. Make decisions and take it on. And I jumped at that, and I gained so much experience and so much knowledge. And then I went through he and I together went through the AGD 0 to 60 program. And so I got further educated there formally. And then in 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, I moved to Nashville. And I just hit the ground running. And we have, taken off since then. I've, gotten more and more
But talk about the part where you met me.
So then Michelle and I met, and we were both very passionate about, the same types of things. And when we went to that show together at Bowie's, everything fell into place. It really fell into place and was just very, very organic and it just worked. And as that developed, we kind of discovered how well we worked together as a team. And as things kind of fell apart with that entity, we were very encouraged by the community to take on our own, to do it on our own and go in our own direction with it. And we knew we could do it at that point with both of our background in music, with our kind of position in the community, with my background in events, because as I was going through school, I was got a degree in special events planning, and I was a wedding planner and a special events planner. And so I have a lot of background in putting together well-run events. And so we decided to take the leap into creating our own company together, and that's how we got to where
we were nervous at first though, because I remember because her background, like she said, she had that. I had mine of that self-exploration age. I'd been a paralegal. I went to school for business. I'm very business oriented, and both of us together, we knew we have what it takes to put some, but we were kind of nervous because we were well, what if we do and it doesn't work, and what if people don't support us?
It was our first time really doing it this.
And also being females, you only know how it is to be a female in the industry if you're a female in the industry, because you do get for example, sometimes you'll get shamed for what you wear, or you'll get shamed for how you act, or you'll get shamed for, and some people, you'll be in a
question
room,
you,
and you'll be in a room where men are talking, and men are more likely to look at other men than they are a woman. And that's where we decided we're gonna be heard when we walk in a room. If you're not paying attention, pay attention to us, talk to us. And having that kind of personality and that drive and pushing like that, it got to a point now where when we walk in a room,
people listen.
They listen.
Yeah.
People listen.
They're quiet. Yeah. They listen. They want to know what we have to say, and they take our word. And that was through us showing people that they had no choice but to do that.
Right.
But at first we were very nervous. We were very should we do this? But like she said, we got encouragement. Everyone was like, do it.
They were behind us. They saw what we were doing, and they knew that we were capable of it.
Yeah.
Even more than we knew it, really.
Yeah, even more than we knew it.
Well, isn't that always how it goes, though? Everyone else will tell you, you're amazing, do the thing. You're amazing, do the thing. I mean, myself, I use the monkey at a typewriter analogy. Like, you don't see your own progress and you don't see your own like knowledge and ability the way other people see it from the outside. Because you know all your baggage.
Right.
You know all the ways that you doubt yourself and why those things are there.
Right.
They don't. They just see this person who appears to be crushing it out here.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
we're our own worst critics, especially in this business.
Absolutely.
And fear, if you're not careful, will drive the bus, you know, and prevent you from really stepping into that a lot of the time. I do have a tangential question because talking about Hanson so much just reminded me. So we already know your answer, Jenna, but who was everyone's favorite band or artist? The first one.
Okay, so first I need to know what the word tangential means.
Kind of like going off topic a little bit, but then we're going to get back on topic.
Okay. Well, now with that deciding of that word, my favorite first band of all time. You guys really want to know?
Yeah.
So like my favorite band now is Incubus.
I'm gonna admit mine.
My favorite band now is Incubus. It's been Incubus for a few
You know
years,
mine.
but my first favorite band ever, Nickelback.
Okay.
I had Chad Kroger's pictures all over my wall. Chad, I don't want you anymore. But back then, boy, you could have had this.
F you, Chad.
I don't want
I don't
you
want
anymore.
you.
I'm all about Brandon Boyd now and Incubus, but no, yeah, Nickelback, because like Photograph and like Animal and all that stuff when I was young. You know, obviously, like I was into like a lot of music, but I think Nickelback was one of the first bands that I was like, I remember putting like their CD on my wall and like listening to their stuff. So yeah.
Chad Kroger.
And then
posters
everyone
everywhere.
started hating them, and I was like the only person that was like, no, I like them. And now everyone's like admitting like, no, Nickelback was good. I'm like, I think you guys just like love to hate them.
That's happening with Limp Bizkit now too. Limp
They were
Bizkit's having a
good.
resurgence. I loved Limp Bizkit in middle school, which is not my answer to this. But now it's like, oh yeah, Limp Bizkit, man. Yeah, Fred Durst looks like Colonel Sanders now. It's cool again.
I'm like, I remember
Like-
y'all talking shit about them, and
Yeah.
now all of you are like, I love Nickelback.
Honestly, I don't understand. Like, I've always been kind of indifferent to Nickelback.
Me too.
I don't love them, but are they really worth hating? And I will say they do put on a good live show because when I saw
of course
Bon
they do.
when I saw Bon Jovi for the first time, Nickelback opened and they killed it. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, that was right. That was right in that album cycle too,
Well,
2006.
you know, it's totally one of those things where it's just you get on the train, you get on the Nickelback hating train. Like everybody just wanted to jump on
I remember
it.
hating it too because I was
You
like,
know?
and I'm like taking the Chad Kroger pictures off my wall, like, oh god,
Yeah.
Trust me,
oh,
fuck
man.
that guy.
I know this scenario because Hanson was my passion, and that was not cool.
We all had a Nickelback.
Yeah.
You had Hanson, I had Limp Bizkit,
Yeah.
you
Oh,
had
so yours was
Nickelback.
Limp Bizkit.
No, that wasn't my first though. I'll admit that in a moment.
What was
But
your first?
New Kids on the Block.
Oh, I loved them.
New Kids on the
I
Block.
had a New Kids on the Block nightgown.
I wanted to be Jordan Knight. As a matter of fact, I don't know if I've admitted this on the show before. I've admitted it to a lot of people at this point in my life. Every Christmas Eve, I would put on a concert, and it was all New Kids on the Block and Boys to Men songs.
Do we have
Oh,
video
see, my
footage?
concert was Tina Turner.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, what's love got to do with it?
My sister's was Cyndi Lauper, because
There
she's
you go.
she's even a little older than us.
No, okay, I think I'll take mine back. If you're gonna say New Kids on the Block, my very first favorite, Backstreet Boys. If we're going that
That's
far
fair.
back,
Yeah, that's fair.
Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
Backstreet's back. Because I remember my mom worked at Burger King,
See, they were
and they were like Burger King's like band or whatever choice,
Mhm.
and they had the Backstreet Boy toys, and I
Yeah.
was like 7, and I was like so into Nick Carter and Kevin, and like I thought they were like the hottest, coolest thing. I remember I was like vehemently against NSYNC. I was like, NSYNC's like not nearly as good as Backstreet, like, and now I'm like they're both good. Who cares? But
They were
yeah.
both at the top of that food chain.
They were both
They were
definitely.
both at the. I was like, they were my. It was boy band versus real band.
Yeah.
And I was real band.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I had to repress my appreciation for the Backstreet Boys because by that point I was in middle school, and being a boy in middle school, liking
Yeah.
boy bands back in the late 90s.
Oh,
Yeah,
Forget
I
about
was
it.
I was
my little brother used to play Barbies with me, and he couldn't mention that outside the room, or everyone would
Yeah.
think.
I've always loved that music, but I've always loved all music. It's just
Yeah.
like because of that New Kids on the Block formative experience where I'd sing I'll Be Loving You Forever on Christmas Eve, I had a special appreciation for the pop R&B realm. Therefore, when the Backstreet Boys, I liked Backstreet better than NSYNC too,
Yeah.
but I was cool with both. The 98 Degrees I liked better than both of them. Their first album on Motown,
I think I've heard
tremendous. Tremendous.
I'm not in that world at all. But I do have a really fun fact
What's
about that whole era and about the current era, or like semi-current era. So I went to kindergarten all through high school
Mhm.
with the bassist of Imagine
Wait,
Dragons.
you went to kindergarten all through high school?
all the way from kindergarten through high school.
Oh, okay,
From
wait,
kindergarten,
Okay, I'm
started
understanding
first
now.
day of kindergarten, with Ben McKee.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I feel so weird dropping his name. But the bassist of Imagine Dragons.
Oh, okay.
First day of kindergarten.
Yes,
We were in Miss Mork's class together.
Mhm.
Graduated high school together. So all the way. 4 years old to 18 years old.
Wow.
And we were from a really small town.
Mhm.
And so, he was on the Hanson Sucks train, right? Big time.
Big revelation
Wait, there
here.
was a Hanson Sucks train?
There was a big Hanson
See,
Sucks
I didn't
train.
even know about Hanson until I was friends with her. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, well, I think you were a little bit young for it at the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But I was exactly the same age. So
Mhm.
It's like Harry Potter. That's why you're not into Harry Potter.
Yeah,
because I was 11 when Harry Potter came
Mhm.
out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's
Yeah.
like the age
So
thing.
I was really bullied. And I was lucky to be bullied by people that were truly my family because we had all gone to school together our whole lives. We all loved each other. We were just giving each other shit,
Yeah. Mhm.
And so Ben was definitely on the Hanson Sucks train. He even wrote so when we studied Martin Luther King, we all had to write a Martin Luther King speech, and his was a Martin Luther King speech against Hanson. We had to stand up against Hanson.
What?
I have copies of it. I have like 7 copies of his speech.
I bet you could sell that on eBay.
Probably, but I just gave his mom a copy recently.
You want to know a cool school program that I did? I remember middle school, I did this presentation about AC/DC and why they are definitely back in black. I remember doing that.
Nice.
I was like, hey guys, I'm Michelle, and this is my PowerPoint about AC/DC and why they are back in black. And I went through a whole slideshow of explaining why AC/DC is back in black and how they get on Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and I was like, yep. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you guys.
Yes. Well, I have to finish this story because I turned Ben.
Mm-hmm. You got him on the Hanson train.
I got him on the Hanson train.
Wow.
So on Hanson Day, I brought a cake to school.
Mm-hmm.
On Hanson Day.
On Hanson Day,
I love
May
this.
6th.
I love this.
In I believe it was either 7th or 8th. I think it was 8th grade. And I put it in the science room, and I told everybody, you can come in and eat as much cake as you want, but you have to say Hanson rules as you enter. And Ben sure did want that cake. So he was all about Hanson rules. And then from that day forward, instead of yelling Hanson sucks across the quad, he was yelling Hanson rules.
No.
So it started.
Then in college, he did a report on Mbop.
Really?
When he went to Berkeley.
That's crazy.
And he did a report on,
That
songs
is a fun
that are that sound happy and uplifting, but are actually about dark topics.
Mm-hmm.
And his was about Mbop.
Really? Wow.
So that's just I think that's, people might be impressed by that story.
So he kind of ironically became a Hanson fan.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't mean to, but it just kind of happened.
Cake will change your life.
That's how it happened with me
It's
and
true.
Creed. I found a Creed's Greatest Hit CD at work when I worked at 7-Eleven back in college. And I just I didn't steal it, but I asked my boss if I could take it to annoy my friends with it. And he had no problem with that whatsoever. And so I did. And then I just became a Creed fan. And now I keep threatening Kaysen and everyone who will listen that I'm going to start a Creed tribute band called Staph Infection. And as a matter of fact, every time we finish a production or a live stream in that room, Kaysen and I look at each other, we nod, say it's time, and then "Can You Take Me Higher" comes on, and we just leave Creed on loop for Banks to find the next morning. Yep, it's our tradition
Or
here.
Banks.
We actually, the show we did at the 5 spot in July, I asked the sound guy, so we have a tradition, feel free to say no to this, but at the end of every show, we just play Creed. He's like, dude, I'll get fired. I can't do that. I'm like, that's fine. Just wanted to throw it out there. See if you would. That's all right. It's all right. But I am going to start that band. Anyway. So what's coming up next in Music City Movement Land?
Ooh.
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff. We're working on a lot of stuff. I mean,
We have 615 Fest.
yeah, we have the
Yeah.
615 Fest.
October 2nd.
At the East
Obviously,
Room.
we're
At East
partnering with Live from the 615 on a lot of stuff, and by partnering, I mean we just can't not, because we're all one entity apparently. But we have a lot of stuff going on right now. Me and Jenna, our main focus is we've thrown some shows, we've gotten our feet out there. Now we want to really start hunkering in the foundation, like grants, sponsors, really putting ourselves out there, and like we're throwing shows, and like for a while our whole mission is like we've been wanting to pay artists and stuff, because we know how underpaid. I mean, just as much as we do how the industry is here in Nashville. And so these past few times we've done shows, we've been paying people, putting money out to people, almost coming out of pocket with a lot of stuff we're doing, including merch. And so we want to start trying to put a little bit of that back in our pocket, fund ourselves. So that's one of our main focuses now, which, like me and her talked about, we're just learning how to do stuff, and we're paying attention to what everyone else is doing, but we also want to be able to do things our own way too, and not do it the exact same way everyone's doing it. So yeah, I say that's a little bit of our focus now.
Yeah, now that we've got a little bit of the momentum going, we're trying to circle back to the foundation and really try to solidify a lot of that. And figuring out funding is a big focus for us right now, but also partnering with the community and growing the movement, which, just showing the whole industry and community that we're all in it together.
Yeah.
And so we've got a lot of partnerships going and are constantly talking with people, and what we really aim for is like just showing creating something that is beneficial for everyone involved, and providing resources for in all industry professionals, including musicians and every other aspect of the industry. Photographers and producers and engineers and all of that. Our aim is for everyone to benefit. Venues too. That's part of why we do our shows on generally Mondays or Tuesdays, is to bring a crowd into the venues that are hosting us.
They didn't normally have it,
so that they will gain extra revenue from the night. And so we really want everyone to benefit.
Rising tide raises all boats.
Well, we haven't announced too that me and Jenna actually joined Nashville Showrunners, which nobody really knows about the Nashville Showrunners yet. We're kind of under wraps. We've had one meeting. It's basically some of the people in Nashville are doing some of the biggest things. And we all met together because she was touching on this earlier, but like our idea with Music City Movement is to build a big community of people that all believe in the same mission. And when we met with the Nashville Showrunners, they all were on that same vibe. Like they all were like, we all want to share, we all want to do this, we all want to get together. So that's something that we're working on right now, is just also putting our feet out there with other founders, other people doing stuff, and really building a community of Nashville that is people that actually care about music, not what it was, which is a bunch of people that are super rich that just want to keep making money off of musicians that don't really care about the music.
But this giant amorphous blob that raises everyone up.
Yes. And they're making money, and it's, because working on Broadway, bartending on Broadway, I met all these people that are running the industry around here and that are funding it. And not shade, but shade, like they don't care about music. Like they care about money. They want money. They just want people to make the money. They don't care about what the artists are doing, where the artists are going, what's going on in their lives.
There is that strain of the industry. It's just like, be what we want or you're done.
You're a machine. And we definitely want to create a community where it's like the people running it are the people that really care about what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I feel when we finally get to that point, it's going to be such a beautiful community.
And the thing is, like, people can tell. The artists know. Like, people know the jig is up. People are sick of the inauthentic.
They know. I think COVID did that a lot.
Too. People are so tired of the superposed, let me get in front of the wings and all these Nashville landmarks because I'm a Nashville artist and this is what my manager told me to do. F that bullshit. Everybody knows what's authentic and what's not. And it's coming out in the wash day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year. And the fact of the matter is you have more and more people, whether they're promoting, coordinating the events, whether the artists themselves, whether they're industry people who are those boots on the ground who actually do care, that are like, enough of this fake manufactured garbage. Enough. Like my first couple years in town, I was very careful to like not say any of this stuff on the show, but I don't care anymore because honestly, that part of the industry is not where I want to be. Right. I want to be where real shit is happening, and it's happening right here, right now. Yeah. And if we all do this together, then guess what? We're all going to be just fine with or without them. They're going to have to get on board with us.
That can apply to anything as well, like as far as like society, everything. Like when you all come together and realize the power lies within you, not within the 1%, because it's the same with music industry, the world, the 1%'s really governing everything. Like when you realize that, and you saying that, like being afraid to say stuff, I feel like like a lot of people are in that boat.
Mhm.
Like, and I feel, I guess, blessed to have always been that person that wasn't afraid to speak up. Like when I came here, like when I came down to like bartend in Nashville, and I was really seeing, because I lived here my whole life, but like as a kid, and I never went on Broadway and saw what the music industry. I never had a brain to look at it. So coming here, being an adult with my experience and seeing how people worked on Broadway, I was like, dude, this is bullshit.
Mhm.
Like, you guys are being fake. No one's being. And then, like, for a minute there, I was like, if I'm like this, people aren't going to like me. But you know what? I don't care. I don't need people to like me. And I started making friends. Like, people I'm around now, they're like, dude, one of my favorite things about you is you're not afraid to just come out and say that.
That's how you meet real friends.
Yeah. And then you have other people around you that are like,
Mhm.
what they said, like, I actually agree with them. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
And I think having the power to use your voice and speak up, even if it means you're that one person on this side and there's like 50,000 people on that side and you're alone,
you're not actually
speak
alone.
up. Just
And,
speak up.
like,
Because you'll have more people join you.
What's interesting too is that, like, when we started Music City Movement, we had this whole mission. Like, we just kind of naturally knew that, like, we're trying to help everyone.
Yeah.
We're trying to, like, create this thing where this movement where everybody is really in it together. And people started saying, oh, I'm so glad you're doing this. This town really needs it. And at least to me, whenever I heard that, I was like, what do you mean? This isn't how everyone does it? Like,
everyone doesn't care?
Like, I mean, it's shocking to me that we are some of the first that are doing it this way.
Right.
I'm glad that we are, because clearly it's needed, but it was just so, it was just obvious. Like, we didn't even have to talk about it. It was just obvious, like, that we were doing it
Yeah,
that
we
way.
never even discussed.
Yeah.
We know, it just kind of like happened, our mission, and we just kind of, me and her never had a conversation. We were like, do you agree with this too? It was just already
Yeah,
like
it was
an
like
unspoken.
obvious that, yeah.
And we worked for the ones that we got into, and we worked with them. We saw firsthand people that were doing it because they
For the
only
wrong reasons,
for the very wrong reasons. And me and her was like,
All right, I'm getting chills now because, like, something I'm realizing as you're saying this, we all kind of came into town or came back or came into the industry around the same time,
Yeah.
2017, 2018.
Mhm.
Aaron Shilb came into town, 2017-ish,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
Started...
16, I think. It was 4
Yeah.
years. It's been 4 years.
because even
Yeah.
though I was
So
from
17,
here,
yeah.
I dated someone for 8 years, and he went to MTSU, so I lived in Murfreesboro for a very long
Right.
time.
Right.
So I wasn't back in
Yeah.
Nashville until
Yeah.
the same
Yeah.
time.
Aaron from On Air with Aaron just came into town.
Yep.
Mhm.
You came here last year.
Mhm.
I came here at the end of 2018.
Mhm.
I mean, Kaysen's lived here all his life.
It's almost like
But-
fate.
It is.
Like,
Well,
it's
and
the
also-
Avengers, dude.
It is. and part of it too is that another realization that I've had is that, like, people like our age, we are the fangirls. Like, we're like, my generation, we're teeny boppers. We were the teeny boppers that were absolutely crazy for our favorite bands and just, like, out of our minds. And now we're all adults that can actually do something in the industry. And so we're coming into it with this, like, passion that is just, but before us, it didn't exist the same way. Before us, it was grunge, and there weren't teeny boppers in grunge. There weren't, prior to that, there were for the Beatles, but I think that was a little bit early.
There was a
That was
gap
the
in the
string.
90s,
That was like
in
the beginning
yeah,
of
early
it. The
90s.
Beatles were like the
Yeah, but
beginning,
that
really,
didn't. There wasn't an opportunity for the girls who were really crazy about the Beatles. There wasn't an opportunity for them in the industry at the time.
And they
When
didn't
they
have
came of
rights.
age, it wasn't the right time. And luckily for us, we discovered our passions at the right time, to when we come of age, we can actually make a difference in the industry.
Yeah.
And so at least on the female front of that, like, I am seeing a lot of like the fangirl movement of, like, we were all little girls who were screaming about the boys we had crushes on who are playing on stage, and now we get to actually work with them.
Yeah.
And all of our dreams are coming true. And there is something really, really, really powerful about fangirl
energy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fangirl energy.
I saw a thing you posted on your story about that, the
Mhm.
fangirl around the world. I think too, like, being from Nashville and seeing people, like, pursue their goals and play music and, like, figure out who they want to be, and then also being a child in Nashville, and then, like, being here now and seeing, like,
The change
and the way it built up, and how, like, everyone I know from high school, like, either they're married with kids or they're pursuing their music career. Like there is no in between. Like it's like that. So pretty much every person I know, where she came from like the background of like she was super into bands and all that. Like I came from a background where I almost in a sense was, but they were local. Like my friends and people that I knew that I grew up with. And like now to this day, I still see friends of mine that are trying to understand the new Nashville because they grew up like playing guitar, seeing like, okay, maybe I can make it. And now Nashville is not just like a honky tonk country town anymore. It's like a town where like, well, if you want to make pop music, you could get big.
You can make everything.
You can make
here.
everything here, and I think it's a good combination of our backgrounds and experiences
and the timing.
Yeah.
Agreed. I'm sure we could go on about this all night.
We could.
The three of us. We are coming up on time, so we will continue this at some point.
Sometime?
Yeah, absolutely. And before I let you go, and before I do my sign-off stuff, just want to give you a chance to let people know where they can find y'all online.
Yeah, well, our Instagram is at Music City Movement. And right now, I would say that that's the best hub. We are also on Facebook, and we have a website that's about to be debuted, but and we're working on all of that, and we'll be in lots of other places too. But I would say that Instagram is kind of the most central place for all of it. We also have a link tree that has all of our links where you can find everything else. So
we TikTok now.
Yeah, we do. TikTok,
me and Jenna both miss the TikTok generation, but
we're trying.
We're trying, man. We're really learning. Neither one of us really like she likes to watch TikTok. I don't like TikTok at all, but like we were like, look, we need this.
Doing it.
And we also we're planning a show, and we have shows with Live from 615, but we're planning one in September, and also we do have our Cabana Tap show coming up October 27th.
Yeah, that
which
one's
is
gonna be great.
It's a costume party. So music themed.
The theme is your favorite musical decade.
Yeah. So
come dressed in your favorite musical decade, and we've got it's going to be an excellent
There's going to be a prize for the best costume that we can choose.
Man,
so
what is mine?
And then October 2nd, we have 615 Fest at East Room, which is also going to be an incredible lineup.
That's not just a partnership. That's us and that's all of us.
That's really us all building it together. It's an all-day festival. We've got outdoor music, and then we've got indoor music and vendors, and it's going to be really...
And I will say, before we leave, learning something that I've learned too, growing how we have, sometimes you just got to let your team do stuff. Like, you just got to trust people, and I'm so happy that we're finally establishing, like, a real good team where we can all just be like, okay, you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. And
I do nothing for Fun and Games. Nothing. Less than nothing.
And I feel like we all have the same aspect where we want to kind of control, and all of us working together realize, like, you know what, maybe we just need to let people do what they're good at.
Well, that's where you're wrong. I don't want to control Fun and Games. You can have it. This is yours. I mean, you know.
Well, I remember with the festival, I was like, and then I was like, you know what? You guys got it. Like, I need to, I was like, I gotta calm down.
Now, before I do my sign off, because I forgot on my episode, just gotta do a little bit of
some ASMR.
A little bit of ASMR. Right. Fun and Games tradition here.
That's true. A+.
Thank you.
Great job.
I'm gonna continue as I do the sign off. So this has been the Quinn Spinn Fun and Games Music City Movement Something Edition. You can find us on all the streaming platforms at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Stitcher, and more. Find Fun and Games at undergroundmusiccollective.com, our central hub, as well as everything about this podcast. Find UMC on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. Follow the UMC 20 playlist on Spotify. Check out Live from the 615 and all of our events, including 615 Fest, which we're putting on with Music City Movement.
Come meet us.
There's so much happening. Avengers Assemble. I have to actually make the next showrunners meeting too.
Yes.
I completely forgot last Wednesday was happening.
Yeah.
Come
get involved with us.
Yeah. So Time featuring Timothy Miles, Watch Your Back is our closing theme song. Forgot to say the name of the song on the last episode, so there it is for you now, and here's the song right now. That's it.
Yay! That was really good.
Yeah, except if you're watching this video, then you don't get the closing theme song. Sorry. Okay, bye. Michelle Stone, Jenna Rose, Fun and Games. All right, bye.
Bye.